Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Forens for Just Ask Podcast Live. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to your Thursday special. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest in the podcast studio with us today. And, I'm always excited to tell you about something new, something different, something you haven't heard of, something you haven't seen. Well, you know what? When it comes to children, we're always very elated to do something in reference to children care, pampering, services, anything, networking to make a better way for our children. So, without further ado, I want to introduce to you the founder and president herself of Susie Q's Kids, Dr. Mary Welch. Oh, hello there, Dr. Mary.
Hello, how's everyone?
Glad to have you join me today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Now, may I call you Dr. Mary? Because I know it's Dr. Mary Welch, but may I call you Dr.?
No, that's fine. Dr. Mary's
Okay, okay.
perfect.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Mary, you know what? This is a different type of segment for me today because it's got something to do with taking care of children, making children a little happier in life when things are going a little bit astray. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your program, Susie Q's Kids?
Sure. So, we founded our program back in 2018. We had a daughter named Susie, and she passed away in 2017. So this started out as a way to create some bags for some kids in need and help our family heal. Um, but it's become a community movement, right? So I have a doctorate in executive leadership and I help people with their business and I teach, but my heart right now is in helping kids.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Now, I know you said, well, part of this is like a passion then, correct?
Yes. So I always say, well, our program is based on helping kids in need, any kind of kids. So it doesn't matter if they're sick or they're a foster kid, a shelter, if they've been in fire, whatever their situation is. And so I think we all need a little TLC, right? And
Correct.
so the reason we do that is everybody has passion and purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can tap that purpose and the passion that they have for it, passion and purpose equals engagement. So I can get people from all different walks of life to help me.
That's wonderful. Now, I know that you said this started off with your daughter, so I wanted to share a photo of you and your daughter. Beautiful photo. So, and her name was Susie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that photo right there, she took it. She was in a hospital. She had been there for, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 weeks, and she was a happy girl. She was getting to go home. So that picture, thankful and blessed, that's what it's talking about.
Okay.
It was a good day.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. And so, and I know you guys, is this more or less, I'm going from photo to photo for a reason early on before we get in our deep conversation. But I actually like to seeing this look like a purse, little bag. So tell us about this. This you guys' logo?
Yeah. So we give all the kids a plush panda bear that's very soft and squishy. We give them a blanket,
Mhm.
so a lap blanket. So my daughter's favorite things were a teddy bear, a lap blanket, and then she always had her coloring books and her cards and her games when she'd be in the hospital for months at a time.
Oh,
So our comfort bag is a drawstring bag that has that logo on it.
wow.
And
Okay.
it has coloring books, crayons, Uno cards, Play-Doh, silly putty. It has race cars, matchbox cars, so you can race them. Just something to keep a child in the moment, make
Mm-hmm.
them smile, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then because we partner with all of these wonderful nonprofits, they have all the resources and the professionals that can do the healing work, right? So I always say we're just a connector.
Wonderful connector. Very wonderful connector. I mean, because a lot of times when children are in the hospital for extended stay, it is frustrating not only for the parent but the child itself. The child is the sick one, and he or she missing out on opportunities to be outside with other children or going to school or participating in daily activities and events. So you guys come along and put a smile on their face.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So
So
we
how do
had
you
one
get?
at Children's Hospital,
Mhm.
and they were having a little dig program, and they bring in all the backhoes and all the big machinery, right? And the kids can go outside and climb on them and maneuver them a little bit. And all I could think about was what about the kids that are hooked up to something that can't go
Mhm.
outside?
Mhm.
They're, for whatever the reason, they can't go outside. So that day we made bags to give to the kids that couldn't participate
Mhm.
other than on a screen, right? And so there's all different ways to connect, and sometimes it's just thinking of how you would feel in their shoes.
Now, do you guys get a list of hospitals that tell you that they have children that are, almost like permanent residents, and we love to have you join us, to lift their spirits? Or how does one connect with you?
Yeah. So we're in all the Ronald McDonald houses in Michigan. So we go to Grand Rapids and we go up north and Detroit. And then different hospitals, shelters, foster care, grief centers, autism centers, um, anywhere that has children in it, all
Mhm.
they have to do is reach out to me and we will see what we can do to make that magic happen for them. And so we do camps. So it really is dependent on their needs.
Mhm.
So we just did a group last week. It was an advocacy center up in Lapeer. And we gave them enough bags to last them the whole year.
Wow.
And they use them as a tool when, kids come in and have to tell their story of abuse for in that example. This
Wow.
little guy right here
Mhm.
just calms them down, right?
That would
Yeah, so
calm me
that's our
down too.
panda.
That would calm me down too, Dr. Mary. Okay, okay. I want to bring up some photos. I know that you guys went to a school not too long ago, so feel free to chime in and tell us about these photos that we're looking at. So this is, I mean, I've
Yes,
never seen so many kids' attention sit still so long. So tell us about this photo.
they There was 80, I think 88 or 90 of them. There was four classrooms of second graders, and they had prepped for me to come in. The teachers did a great job of doing that. And I told a little bit about my story, and then they asked me all different kinds of questions, just like you're asking me. They wanted
Okay.
to know, some of different things. And I told a thumbs up story. So there I have my thumbs up and I'm telling them, and you can see some of them in the pictures with their thumbs up. And that really just represents somebody in your life that's near and dear to you, whether they're alive or gone, whether they're two-legged or four-legged, it doesn't matter. They're your special peeps. When you take a picture, if you extend those thumbs up in the air, when you look at that picture, they'll be smiling back
Oh
at you.
yeah.
And
Oh
so
yeah.
these guys were doing an assembly line and they did the signage on the front of the tables and they were just
You know,
excitement in the room.
these
It was fun.
photos are very, very, I mean, really heartfelt photos of children being really excited to help and support and do things, together as a group. Plus, it's teaching children young how to engage with, children with disabilities or children who are less fortunate and things of that nature. So I'm going to come back to some more of them, but really, those photos in itself are touching to let children know early on in life how to engage with adults in being creative and sincere about doing something for the less fortunate. So what is the outcome? I mean, are the parents also involved? Do the parents come in and are they excited to see their loved ones,
Yeah, so it all depends on how the entity wants to do it. Now, I know the parents were involved in some of the fundraising they did. They did some activities, so I'm sure the parents were involved in that. The other day they weren't. But I told them that they were smile makers because we say we're smile makers. We make children smile. When you get a bear in a bag, they smile. But smiles are exponential. So anybody that touches our bag or
Hmm.
talks about us or, shares our mission, they smile. So smiles are exponential. But I told them they were role models the other day. And they said, "What's a role model?" And one girl stood up and said it. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to take all these signage that you made, and each group made their own signage. I'm going to take them all with me, and I'm going to put them up as samples for other kids to do when I go to their schools." And they were so excited that,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, they
Oh yeah.
got to do something in addition, right? And
Right.
recognized for it.
Share the wealth, share the knowledge. Yep, that is so cool. So I have some more photos that I wanted to ask about. Now, these little guys here look like they're having a great time, and I mean,
Yeah.
just seeing the smiles on these children's face is just gratifying. But tell me, how can we as individuals, family, faith-based group, or service groups and organizations get involved? How can we be a part of that?
Absolutely. So we work on a donation basis. So we take in-kind product, we take cash and in that regards. Um, but really it's about engaging whoever it is that's coming in to do the project with us or supporting us, um, that what it is that they want to do. So we do um for example, we do a sensory kit and it's got spinners and poppers and stuff in it. That goes to groups that have autism, for example.
Okay.
We have kids that are in uh, shelters or foster care.
Hmm.
We give them full hygiene kits. We have other kids that are grieving the loss of someone. So, my therapist told me to write a book. I wrote a couple, but this children's
Oh
book
wow.
here, um,
Hmm.
it's all about how to keep them in your mind and in your memory, and so that goes into our grief bags. So you can schedule a tour. You can call me up. My email is drmary@susieqskids.org. There's a S in the middle, so you got to make sure you got that. There you
Okay.
go. It's up there. And well, you can give me a call, 586-206-8424, and we'll
Okay.
figure out exactly how to make it happen. You can do employee engagement teams, you can
Hmm.
volunteer, you can, help me sort and package and things like that. Um, and then anybody that comes here, I always say, "Hey, bring your kids, bring your grandkids, and
Okay.
take them to the store and buy a coloring book, right? Something that they can put in the donation box." So now they're learning philanthropy from all different angles.
Early on, and that is so good. Now I know with this classroom here, just seeing this, like I said before, the children. So you have a assortment of things in each bag. I see the crayons, I see the bear, the coloring book. So are these children thinking these bags are for them, or they are aware that they're giving these bags away?
Oh no, they know that these are for other children and they actually got to pick where they wanted them to go. So
Okay.
they are second graders and they chose to give them to preschoolers in their school, that are in a special ed program. So kids that have a few disabilities. See, they
Hmm.
keep hugging on the bears. That's always happens. Um, but they're, half of what they did was going to go to kids actually in their school. And then they said for the other ones, they wanted them to go to police officers. So if they pulled up on a fire or a situation, they could calm a child at that point. So we left there and went to their local police department. And so now we have a relationship with them. And, we're throughout several different entities as far as police departments and sheriff departments and
Oh
whatnot.
wow.
And see,
Okay.
this is how happy they were. How exciting.
I see everybody's got thumbs up.
Yeah, oh,
Everybody has
always,
thumbs.
always.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you
So,
spend like an
and this was
entire.
just one class. That was just one class. There was four classes of them that came through there and did
Oh,
the exact same
okay.
thing.
So you spend an
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
day with the school. Okay, all right. And so now in preparation for the students, and I saw the teddy bears. Are you bringing all these things into the school so that when the kids are introduced to you, that they know that they're getting ready to, put these bags together for a cause?
Yep. So they chose to do a combination activity and sensory bag. And so we picked out the different items. We knew what their budget was that they had to fundraise for, and we added to it. And we were able to pick out what they wanted to do, right? And so then they made their own posters, and they got to go stand when they had it all organized. So when they went in the room, they had to stand behind their posters at that table so they knew what product was in front of them. And
Oh,
so
okay.
that made it easier. And then they had a couple of checkers at the end where they had a list of everything and they checked every bag to make sure every bag got the items it was supposed to so nobody got shorted.
So you really worked out that strategy. Okay, I mean, sound like a plant. Okay, but no, you really you really worked out the strategy so that the kids won't be running all over the place and everything is pre-set up at a table and they're at a workstation, so to speak. Okay,
Yep.
wonderful, wonderful. I could imagine how and probably because I'm older now, I don't remember seeing anything like that in my time. But nowadays we have it where children, some of them are on YouTube doing things, being very creative and talented, and then we promote it by showing that to other children, and you can see that one child affects another child by saying, "I like to do that. I like to get involved in that." And it's almost like the sports when you take kids to games, baseball games, basketball games, and they feel like, I want to do that one day. Do you get that same feeling that these children that you actually work with have the ability to want to be creative and help other children in the near future?
Yeah, and at all ages too, right? So I think you'll show a photo later of a has a bear and a blanket and
Hmm.
uh a bag that he's holding. And yeah, that one. And I had an artist come in and he wanted to volunteer and he volunteered several days. And then I told him about this idea that I wanted to make a series of pandas. And we talked a little bit and he went off and did a couple. And then he offered to do them for me, and I said, "Oh no, you're an intern in school, and you need to get compensated. That's your livelihood. I'm glad to support you, right?" And so he made me a whole library full of pandas that I can use in different ways. We had a group of medical students from Wayne State come in, and they made bags, and they said, well, I said, well, what do you do? And they said, well, they go to free clinics and they do, things for
Hmm.
individuals and whatnot. And I said, great, take all the bags with you. When you go to the free clinic, you get to see it in action, give the bag to a child that's there to get, they're sick or whatever their reason is that they're there.
Okay.
And so they were just blown away. One, that they got to participate, and two, that they were able to actually see it, take them and see them in action.
So do you have a warehouse that's pretty well stacked with items to prepare for your journey to go to the schools or the hospitals or the clinics?
See, this is a nice clean spot right
Ah,
here. You get
yeah.
my backdrop. Yes, I'm in the middle of a warehouse.
Okay.
And there's boxes everywhere, and some are packaged and ready to go, and some are ready to be put together. We do a an open bag stuffing on the second Monday of every month at 6 o'clock. And if you reach out to me, I can send you the address, or you can call me. And I would love to have you. So this coming Monday at 6 o'clock, there'll be 40, 50, 60 people in the room. We're going to make several hundred bags. And there's
Wow.
Kiwanis and Rotary and Lions and Masons, and there's students and there's 4-year-olds and there's everything in between. And it's amazing to see the magic in the room.
Now
It's
let me
amazing
just
to see
just
the
ask you
magic in the
ask
room.
you a personal
Kids
question.
want to come
So
back.
so I know your daughter's always looking over at down at you like, Mom, you're keeping my dream alive, and helping other children and stuff. What is one of the gratifying things that you feel, that you have accomplished when you see all these people come to set these bags up? I mean, to know that you're in a warehouse. Let me just say this. Let me start back. To know that you started this, because it has something to do with your daughter, and you've carried it, and here we are in 2026, and you've done so well over the years. Do you see where you evolved from to where you are now, and what's your take on that?
It's all community driven. I couldn't do it without the community, right? And so we give our bags to other nonprofits. We give our bags to schools and to police officers and ambulances. We hardly ever get to see a child get a bag. And so we get stories and I got two stories this week, and I don't need to go into them, but enough that somebody come up and said something traumatic happened and there's your bags and you comforted my children or family or friends, and how did you know? And I said, I didn't. I said, but we place them where they are in the organizations that can help you in that moment,
Hmm.
and they use them as a tool. So it enriches the nonprofits' availability to comfort and give them their services as well. So
Wow, that is really really. So well, okay, now I'm going to ask this: what happens around the holidays? People are always looking for things around Christmas, okay, stuff like that. Do you guys do any engagements around holidays?
um, you know, we whatever people ask us for, we try to accommodate. So one year I was flipping through Facebook and I yelled for my husband to come in the other room, and he come running in. He said, "What's up?" And I said, "Santa Claus is at Detroit Rescue Mission down in Detroit, and he's giving away Susie Q bags." I said, "They're lined up around the tree with the little panda bears sticking out." I said, "Oh my goodness, right?" You never know. You never know exactly how they're going to use them. Um, we gave at the beginning of school, we gave to a elementary school honor kids, honor society, hats and gloves, and we gave them backpacks for their school.
Okay.
And they called me, and their first project was to repurpose the overage that they had. So they took the product out of the bags, but they kept hats and gloves and put them in the extra backpacks. Then they added cards of kindness for the homeless. And then they called me and said, "Can you help us distribute them?" It's full circle, right?
Right.
They got
Right.
a gift. They repurposed it and gave it to somebody else to make their life a little bit better. And we're excited and happy about the process.
That's wonderful. That is truly, truly wonderful. And Doctor Mary, you're a blessing to many, including myself. I'm honored to have you join me so that we can learn more about Susie Q Kids. And your story in itself is just heartfelt and compassion with for children. Period. And let me ask you this: so, is there an age cutoff that you guys service, or does it matter?
Kids out of they go coming out of like foster care, they don't have anything, right? And so we go into young adulthood, it all depends on the situation. Um, but some of our partners like Big Family of Michigan and Friends of Foster Kids, they service those kids, even though they help them set them up in a new, like going to school and you've set somebody up for a dorm room. They help
Mm-hmm.
these kids as well. So we're always looking for ways to engage. And we just did a Take Your Child to Work Day at Yasaki, and we're going back in June, and we're going to do it for interns. So we're going to engage their interns in community giving to entice them and excite them about the program. So
Wow.
all different ways
Wow.
to engage and um, be the recipient as well as the giver.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm telling you. I mean, the viewers who are watching this show today will definitely be reaching out to you. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have a scene phone number or anything, give us a call here at Just Ask 1-800-323-5336 or our local number 248-242-7730. If you have a question for Dr. Mary Welch or myself, or if it's a show idea that you want to see, let us know. But we are definitely honored to get your information out, Dr. Mary, because there's a lot of organizations that are in need of resources to support children and families, whether the child is in foster care or the parents are incarcerated and can't service their be with their children. Children are suffering for lack of resources, but a organization like yours come along and put smiles on the faces is just wonderful. And if I'm walking around and I see those panda bears, I'll know where they come from. I'm gonna definitely know where the panda bears come from. I'm like, I know that panda bear. That's Susie's kids, okay? Susie cute kids. So I'm gonna recognize that panda. And you know what? And you have such a uniqueness about your program. Definitely with the thumbs up. You have such a uniqueness about your program that it deserves support from many, and including myself. So I'm honored to have you here today on the Just Dance Talk Show podcast, and hopefully with our viewers, we'll get the word out and get some more support for you. To continue on as well as we know. And anything you want to say before we wrap up?
I'll just give you a couple of ideas. If you're a crafter, if you knit and crochet or you quilt, we take handmade blankets and things like that. If you're in a faith-based group and you want to do some activities together, you know, it's an easy project I can help you with, right? And I just want to say thumbs up to you, Marcia, for having me on, being welcomed the way it was. And, um, we all need a smile, right? And so smile is exponential. And um, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Well, hold that thought for me. I'll be right back.
Ben Bailey here. Parents, where can you find peace of mind and expert advice?
Parenting.org.
That is correct. Don't drive yourselves crazy guessing. Head to parenting.org from Boys Town.
I try to keep up with what these young people is doing and knowing.
I was at work and I just got a text from a number that I didn't know.
I sent him a text. He texts me back and say, "Who dis?" And I just thought that was the funniest thing.
The next few weeks, she just made fun of me, like would answer the door and say, "Who dis?"
Who dis?
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
America, let's do lunch.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed myself today with Dr. Mary Welch. And, I just want to tell you that when you see the Just Dance Talk Show, keep in mind we're here to support organizations to make a better way for our disabled, elderly, and our caregiver population. So always remember you can reach out to me at Just Dance Talk Show, Marcia at Just Dance Talk Show, or call our numbers 1-800-323-5336 or 248-242-7730. I'm your host, Marcia Florence for Just Ask. And what do I always say? If you have a question about a person with a disability or just a general question, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host. See you next time.